So welcome everyone to A Cosmic Cuppa with Jude. I hope you're all well and got your cuppas at the ready. And I have a lovely lady here with me this evening. Her name is Lorraine Thompson, and we're going to be talking about aromatherapy and all sorts of things that Lorraine is interested in. So Lorraine, I'm just going to put my view onto speaker so I see only you.
Okay.
So how are you?
Me, I'm great. I'm great. I'm looking forward to this evening.
We're looking forward to it too, because you just have a mine of information on so many things. So,
Well, knowledge
Lorraine,
isn't any good unless it's shared.
absolutely. So I'd love to read out your bio, if I may. So Lorraine was born in Timaru. I don't know if you want me to tell you the date, but she was born in Timaru. My parents moved, as she's saying, to Oamaru when she was 10 months old, and were the master and matron of an old people's home until she was 8, where we moved to Christchurch. Max and Margaret Bishop bought a house which is less than 10 minutes from where I live now. I attended Woolston Primary, then Linwood High. We had a year when I was in Standard 4 in Balmoral Forestry Camp, where Mum and Dad ran the canteen. We had chooks and a couple of pigs, and I went to Howarden Primary on a bus. I pretty much ran wild in the nearby forest, climbing trees, making huts in the roots of fallen trees, and doing things I'm sure my mother never knew about. We moved back to Christchurch after a year, and I went back to Woolston for Standard 5 and 6. I had no idea at that time what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I took professional. There were different levels of training at schools. So Lorraine took professional, ended up in P2, professional 2, taking French, which she says she's had very little use for. She was very competitive, but didn't have a lot of confidence. I had a girlfriend who was good at gymnastics, so I thought I'd try that. And it turned out I was pretty good, she says. I earned all the badges and became the first person in New Zealand to earn the elite badge. I also represented the school in track and field, swimming, diving, gymnastics, modern dance, hockey, cricket, life-saving. This last I put to good use some years later, when I saved the life of a young girl and helped save a few others. One of my passions was cake decorating, and I wanted to leave school and get a job doing that. I had to wait 3 months for that job to open, so I worked in the schoolwear department of Valentine's. Then took the job at Collins Bakery, which was on Morehouse Avenue, near the corner of Madras. Ara is there now. I worked there for 3 years, going from icing biscuits and creaming buns and donuts, some people's prime dream, I would think, to managing and ordering the deliveries and overseeing the ladies who made sandwiches, etc., by age 18. That's where I met Paul Garland, who at that time was a gangly young apprentice baker, who later became Arana Park's director, and who allowed me unlimited access to the park for my articles. I went from there to Crown Lynn Glass in Hornby, firstly in packing, then to the bottle machines, and finally the hand painting section, which sounds so impressive as to your talents, Lorraine. About this time, I started learning judo and self-defense. I enjoyed this, earning my brown belt and some national titles, until none of the girls in our club were able to be awarded our black belt, even though we were winning fights with the girls from the club the examiner owned. We all became discouraged and most of us left. I took a short holiday to Sydney and Melbourne and then started saving to go back again. I left Crown Crystal for Quick as Air and became a rating and manifest clerk and part-time sales clerk. Then I spent 2 years in Australia, mainly in Brisbane, followed by a 4-month stint in Papua New Guinea. I came back to New Zealand on the Arcadia from Sydney via Noumea, Suva, Lautoka, Bay of Islands, and I got off in Auckland. My previous boss couldn't place me, so he got me a job with his friend at the Kaiapoi Woolen Mills in Manchester Street as a freight clerk, saving the company money on incorrect bills, etc. She says, I met my husband Keith while I was there. Then when the woolen mills closed down, that boss got me a job at Lane Walker's in the men's underwear office. I was married in February 23rd, 1974. We bought a beautiful 100-year-old cottage in Opawa Road that December, and I became pregnant with my daughter the following year. One day, a judo club came to give a lunchtime demo outside the staff shop. I got there early and saw that the black belt was a really big guy that I knew. So I asked him if he was going to take a volunteer from the audience. I said, pick me, Tamanagi. I may not be saying that quite right. So he had his team, who didn't know me, go through some moves, then said he'd like to demonstrate how easy judo really was. One of the girls put me in a G, then he started to show me how to move. Then when we were in position, I dropped to the ground, put my foot in his stomach and threw him over my head. Well done, Lorraine. Rachel was born in October 30th, 1975, and Daniel October 31st, 1977. They both went to a power school and Linwood High. I did most of my writing over these years, as well as gardening, sewing, knitting, etc. Near the end of 1982, I was invited to a jewellery and perfume party. I overheard the consultant telling the hostess that she could earn some money doing the same thing. Yolanda wasn't interested, but a week later, I rang and asked for the consultant's phone number. I asked Lynn, could I do it, as I wanted to buy Keith a watch for Christmas that he didn't have to give me the money for. Of course, she said yes and trained me. I was terribly shy, nervous, and unsure of myself, but Keith got his watch, and I was prepared to finish up. But Lynn told me she would teach me the skincare and cosmetic side of the New Zealand business. I stayed with San Michelle for 3 years, earning excellent money, as well as numerous prizes and trips. The last one was to Disneyland, and I earned the trip for Keith as well, and we paid for the airfares to take the kids along. A wonderful trip. The management changed just after we got back, and along with a few others, I left the company. After a year of trying a couple of other things, I went back to San Michelle and at the same time began my training as a beauty therapist. Over the following years, I also trained in aromatherapy, reflexology, lymphatic drainage, and several other modalities. I also trained as a tutor and in 1990 opened my own school, working initially from a skyline building I had built behind our house. I taught there for 2 years until Daniel started fixing cars in the backyard with his mates. I eventually found a shop in Sydenham where I worked out for 3 years with clients, staff, and students. I stopped using San Michel when I was introduced to Nu Skin just before it came to New Zealand and began using it, even though as a beauty therapist, I was only supposed to use beauty therapy only products. My skin had always been super sensitive and I could never recommend a product to a client that I wouldn't use myself. I've now used the Nu Skin and Pharmanex skincare, makeup, supplements, and beauty devices for over 31 years. And because Nu Skin is a network marketing company, I'm still being paid for work I did 31 years ago. A bigger premise became available further down, so I invested too much in outfitting it for my purpose. I was there 6+ years, then moved again. The third premises were even bigger, with a large classroom, a shop, storage, and 3 clinics. These were damaged in the quakes that we had in Christchurch. We couldn't access them for over 3 weeks, and there was no access from the front of the building. I refused to pay for the time when we had no access for the rooms I couldn't use. But the owner was a nasty man who took me to court and lied, costing me a lot of money and my health. I moved to smaller premises and stayed there until my husband Keith passed away in March 2017, at which time I moved everything into a lockup or home and moved a massage table into my spare room. In among the shifts of my business, we also shifted house when the council brought our home to widen Opawa Road. We wanted to stay in the area as I worked in Sydenham, Keith at Littleton Engineering, and the kids had not long left home. Rachel to study accounting in Wellington, and Daniel following his career in civil engineering in London. The house I now live in is across from where our first home was, and became available when the older couple living here both became quite ill. We were able to buy the house on the understanding that we also took on her cat, which we were glad to do. I still have a lot to do around the house and in the section, but I'm getting it sorted one day at a time. Lorraine, that's a beautiful bio. Would you like to unmute yourself, please? That's lovely. That's a beautiful bio.
I didn't realise you were going to read the whole lot out. I thought you were just going to pick and choose a few things to ask me some questions. So you took me by surprise there.
Well, you've had an amazing past. And, you know, the reason I do these beautiful interviews with amazing people is we may know someone, but we don't always know someone as well as what we think we do, because there's often so much more to a person's character and life history. And on 5D and beyond, and with A Cosmic Cuppa, I'm about the storytelling and bringing out these beautiful stories. So before we do go any further, how's your day been?
Started off with Pilates this morning.
Ooh.
A couple of messages on the way home, and yeah, other than that, and had to go and buy some more swan plants for my caterpillars because they'd decimated the 4 I'd already bought. Oh, but hopefully I'll get a few butterflies
Oh,
out of it.
that's great. So you're going to have some beautiful monarch butterflies.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's brilliant. Lorraine, would you like to tell us a little about your childhood? You moved around a little bit with an interesting time in Hawarden. Would you like
Mm.
to just briefly talk about what your childhood was like?
Yeah, well, my young childhood was in Oamaru, and I loved it there. And I remember being asked what I wanted to do. I think I was probably at 5 or 6. What did I wanted to do when I left school? And I wanted to be a trapeze artist. I haven't got there yet, but there's still time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I lived in Victoria Home, which overlooks Friendly Bay, and some of you may have gone and seen the little blue penguins. They're down the cliff from where I was living, and I I don't remember doing. I know that my mother didn't know what I did a lot of the time, but I went down up through the forest at the back, and then down a path along the cliff, and just for a walk. And sometimes I have one of the older guys from the home come with me. I do know I went by myself, but one day we found an injured penguin, and we took it home. Um, the man had a pocket knife, and he cut some kelp and put the wee penguin in it. I wanted to keep it, but Mum, we had it for a week until it recovered and took it back down. So, yeah, that's probably the highlight there. Yeah, so I've lived most of my life here in Christchurch. I visited other places, but I can't. I've never seen somewhere else I'd rather be.
Christchurch is home.
Yeah.
Lovely. Can you tell us about your move into the sports arena? You were involved in many sports in which you excelled, including track and field, swimming, diving, gymnastics, modern dance, hockey, cricket, and life saving. Quite a busy young lady.
I was very competitive. I think that started at primary school because my sister and brother were a lot older than me. I was virtually an only child. 14 and a half years between me and my sister, and 18 and a half between my brother and myself. But my mother and sister both sang, my sister especially, amazing. So I sang all the time, and I still do under my breath. But we had a concert. This was sort of about this last year of primary school. And so we had to do something, and I decided I would sing. And I sang Over the Seas to Sky. And I knew all the words because my mum taught me. But two of the most popular boys teased me. Oh, you're no good. You're, this and that. And that's a very sensitive time in anybody's life. So I took it to heart that I wasn't good enough, but that also made me determined to prove them wrong. But I would, in swimming sports, I would usually come second, except in breaststroke, but in overarm and backstroke and butterfly, and that I would become second. And the girl who always beat me, and also in track and field, she would beat me. She was actually trained by a guy who trained Olympic people.
Wow.
And I didn't twig that. I didn't twig that I actually probably could have beaten her, but I never believed I could. And I never realised that until a long way past that, in one of the courses that I did on motivation, etc., etc. And the guy there made me sing, which was not easy, but yeah. And yeah, I loved sport. I was at school for sport. Um, And the judo came after school. The gymnastics, I pushed myself along with a lot of other good friends. The judo came about because somebody attacked me, and so I decided I needed to be able to protect myself, which I did. And the life saving, when I was in Brisbane, went on a picnic with some friends, and I had a new bikini. Nothing I'd wear now, but I had a lovely bikini, and I hadn't got in the water. And my boyfriend at the time and his brother and another friend, there was 3 guys, and they'd gone in, and they were way over the other side in this river. It had gone in flood, so the water was quite dirty, and I was sitting up on this big rock overlooking and thinking, am I going to go in and will I lose the top of my bikini or something? And I saw these little girls, and they had an enormous big beach ball, and they were playing with it, and there was one on either side, and they got to a point where they started to sweep away. They couldn't reach the bottom, and the boys could see that this happened, but they only saw the wee girl on the one side of the ball, because the ball was sort of, and the other girl must have been holding the ball. So I had to dive in. And then after that, we got those 2 girls to save them. But then other people swam as well, and we had to pull people out a couple of times after that. So it was, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
How amazing, Lorraine. That's wonderful that you had that training. You knew what to do, and you were able to do it and get yourself safely back as well.
And I didn't lose the top off the bikini, which was a bonus.
Makes me think of that song, the Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini.
Oh, yeah, I never had one of those. Never that tiny.
Oh, we know that dreams can come true when we set our heart on a goal. You certainly achieved success on the sports field. Could you talk about your early work life and your passions at that time, what you aspired to be, and how that came about?
Well, that first job I took at the just because I couldn't get into the bakery. I wanted to ice cakes. I'd been doing that for a long time. But yeah, I enjoyed my time in the bakery. And then it came time to have a shift. So I'm not even sure. I can't even remember why I went out to the Crown Crystal and worked there. But again, I got into the artistic side of it. I can't draw a picture. I can't draw a stick man that looks like a stick man. My stick man quite ugly. But I could always ice something on the cake. I still do a wee bit, but yeah. I did my wedding cake.
Wow.
Long time back. 50 years ago last Friday.
Oh, happy anniversary.
It was a lovely day.
Wow. That's fantastic. Would you talk about your interest in judo and self-defense and how that added to your life experience? Were you also learning the mental practices within these modalities, which gives us a richer awareness and perceptions of dealing with life?
Those modalities are very much, it's not just the physical. You had to understand that you didn't use the what you were learning against people. It was your self-defense or the self-defense of others. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed doing that, and I made some good friends, and still see a couple after all these years. It's amazing how some friends pop in and out of your life, no matter how long it is since you've seen them, and you can talk to them as if you saw them yesterday. So
yes,
yeah,
they're the best friendships, really, aren't they?
they are.
They really are.
What's the saying? Some people are No, I can't remember the saying. It's something about that. Some people, because some people come in your life and go, others will stay and others will just pop back again.
Yeah. And some are in your heart forever. I think it
Yeah,
kind of finishes
definitely.
off. I think
Yeah,
I know the one you mean.
and I
Yeah.
know and you're one of those ones in my heart.
Oh, thank you so
Always have
much, my
been.
love. Thank you,
Mm.
darling. Lorraine is now stepping out into the world. Could you talk about your entrance into the world of consultancy with well-known products, how that developed and added to your own growth, having fun and sharing knowledge? So you talked about starting with San Michelle.
Mm. That was a New Zealand company. It was a long time back, and I only wanted to buy Keith a watch, but yeah, I got talked into trying the skincare and makeup. I found I enjoyed it more. The skincare than makeup was never something I was that interested in, but I did want to know more. I wanted to know how the skin worked, why it worked the way it did, and I guess I've always wanted to know more about whatever. So that was what. And we had fun, and as I mentioned in the bio, we had trips and we won things, and you know, it was a good time. But after we'd been over to Disneyland, as things changed, and I thought I needed a change, but that was not very exciting. I worked in one company selling motivational products, but they wanted me to work in the school holidays, and that wasn't on. My kids were quite young. They were 11, 12, 13, yeah, at that time.
And
And
family is so important, isn't it?
very much so. I
Mm,
always like to have those holidays with my children and be home when they came home, as you did,
absolutely.
as you did. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's interesting too, Lorraine, that through comments from other people, whether knowingly or not, we can lose confidence, as you did with your singing, because
Mm,
of what was said to you and you took it on board. And we can all do that. And we can
mm,
carry that stuff for years sometimes
yeah.
until we look at our stuff, look at our shadow stuff and work with it and move
Mm,
through it, knowing that that was their stuff,
mm,
not ours. And so I guess with going into the party plan business, whatever you want to call it, that would have been building up confidence for you too, to come out into the world, to speak
mm,
to people, have something interesting and important to say with building up knowledge as well. Is
mm.
that how you found it?
Yeah, I loved, especially with the skincare. We would do displays and things like that, and I loved it when I had young teenagers, and I would say to them, I'd have the makeup on one side and the skincare on the other, which is going to make you the most beautiful, help your skin the best, help you look nicer or more beautiful. And they'd always say the makeup. I'd say, no, you need to look at the skincare. You need to use good skincare, because if you don't, it's like painting a picture. If you are an artist and you're painting something, you start off with a blank canvas, but you have to prep it. You have to put a base on it before you start putting the colours on it, etc. And your skin is the same. You can't add a bit of lipstick and a bit of powder or whatever unless you've looked after the skin underneath. And I always enjoyed being able to help them. Um, I I remember one girl. There's always people or things that stick in your mind. There was this young girl, and she wanted to try some makeup, and so her makeup that she had on had to come off. And it took about 5-10 minutes to get all of whatever she had on off. And yeah, so and I still enjoy being able to help one of these young ones with their acne, because I had bad acne when I was a teenager. And my children, fortunately, by the time I got them to teenagers, I was able to know better for them. Back in my day, you went to the chemist and the things that they gave me for my acne burnt my skin, so I gave up, and it was just no good. So things have improved.
I actually remember one of my girlfriends at high school used to have radiation, and poor girl, she'd come in. She'd obviously had eyepieces on to protect her eyes, so she had this white patches around her eyes, and the rest of her face was bright red. I felt so sorry for her.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have helped either.
No,
yeah.
I'm sure it wouldn't have. Wow.
When I did my training, I did a lot of extra training in acne and skin issues. So
Great.
So I could help.
Yes, your skin looks amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Gorgeous girl, you. Now we get into the nitty-gritty, Lorraine. Would you please tell us about the start of your training into health and beauty as a therapist, and then opening your own practice, the key to health and beauty, not only as the principal, but also as a tutor of modalities?
Well, I had started when I did my training. I worked with another couple of ladies. This is when I was still with San Michelle, and we had a bit of a business, and but that didn't keep going. And I was invited, or the three of us were invited to go with another couple who had started the first beauty therapy school in Christchurch. And they used our premises for one class and then invited us to shift with them. Well, we looked at premises, etc., etc. And one of the ladies who I'd known for a long time, actually, I don't know what happened. She decided that I needed to go away and move out without them. I don't know why, but anyway, I did in the end because I had no choice. So I worked for the other couple for a year, teaching or learning to teach, I guess. And that was an interesting year because I learnt a lot. I never got paid, but I learnt a lot. And at the end of the year, he got quite sick. I think he had an injury in his leg or something like that. I can't remember exactly now. And they had to stop teaching. And there was one class that were half taught. They had only got halfway through their course. And I said, we can't do that. And they said, well, we have to because neither of us can do it. So I had the skyline built at the over the road from where I am now, in the back of the premises. So I asked the girls in the class, would you mind coming home with me? Literally. So I did that, and I had 6 months left on the course, I think it was, and I finished teaching them. And I thought, shit, what will I do now? And I talked to another friend of mine who's a beauty therapist, still is, and she said, well, keep teaching. I said, oh, I can't do that. And he said, well, you've been doing it. And I said, well, I suppose I have. And Carol had given me all of the paper, the course notes, etc., etc. So I thought, well, there's some things I didn't like and things I wanted to put in. So I took it all to pieces, put it back together again. And as I say, for 2 years, I worked across the road. Then I moved in. I had 4 different premises in Sydenham. And taught probably over 1,000 people. I taught mostly the beauty therapy, reflexology, aromatherapy. I probably only had 1 or 2 classes in lymphatic drainage, pregnancy massage. I went up and trained some girls up in Blenheim for that. I still do a wee bit of teaching. I've been asked to do some online teaching, so I started to prepare to do that just before the earthquakes. So, of course, that change things. And so just sort of getting my head back around things. And but I still do a wee bit of beauty therapy. I've probably got a half a dozen, 8 clients that some of them I've known for 20 more years. There's one lady coming on Friday. Definitely I've known her for that time, and because of my training in beauty therapy and learning about to be able to recognise skin cancers, she's one of the ladies who I saved.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What did you use, if I may ask?
Oh, I didn't use anything. I just recognised.
Okay.
She had. She comes often for a back massage, and of course, most people don't see their own back, and even though her husband might have seen a back, he wouldn't have known what to look for. And so I said, look, I think you should go and see the doctor straight away, which she did. She went the next day. He sent her to a skin specialist the next day, I think, and removed it. It was definitely malignant. And she turned up a couple of months later with a great big box for me on the doorstep as a thank you. But yeah, so that's there was probably 2 other ladies that I had found things for on. One lady was on the back of her calf when I was waxing her legs. The other one asked me to look at some. She thought she had a pimple type thing on just right in here. And I said, no, I'm not going to touch that. You need to go to the doctor. And turns out that was malignant as well. So it's one of the things that I'm very pleased that I learned.
Absolutely. To know the difference on what is what. Very, very important. And to know that you've helped save someone's life. I know you don't want to give yourself kudos, but that's a brilliant thing that you were able to lead them in the right direction where it actually did save their lives. That's wonderful.
But, the reason that I could do that was because somebody else helped me in the past and encouraged me. So, and I always remember somebody saying, you never know what effect something that you say or do for somebody will affect them and their life, or affect other people in their lives. So,
very, very true. Very, very true. I met Lorraine in 1993 when I sat for my beauty practitioner's diploma, which I passed with honours. Yay!
Yay!
And I've actually got my diploma here, Lorraine.
Oh my goodness! Oh, lovely.
So I pulled that out for everyone just to say, yes, I've been there and done that with you in this amazing course. Can you tell us about the tutoring aspect, the theory, the practical applications we learnt for this diploma? Because it wasn't just about beauty, was it?
No. A beauty is, it's not what you see. It's how you are. So, but it is important to understand how the body works, how the skin works. So there's a lot of theory that is important before you actually learn to do a massage or learn to teach somebody about their skin and understand the different skin types and what can and can't be used. And it's not just what some of these. And of course I've had very good students, and I've had some not so good students over the years. On the whole, the more mature, I've taught guys as well, not so much on the beauty therapy side, but I have taught guys. Even taught one guy how to do nails. He was gay. He's a gorgeous guy. But that wasn't why. It's what he wanted to do. I've taught massage to a few guys, and reflexology and lymphatic drainage. One of my clients has, she's not a client now. She's lived out of, she moved out of Christchurch after the earthquakes. She has lymphedema. So when I was teaching that first class that I taught, I had him come into the class and I taught him, but I had her come in as a model. So lymphatic drainage it's not easy to do. It's a very gentle massage, and it's quite, you've got it. You can't just say, oh, I'll do this and that, I'll make it up as I go along. You've got to do it in a set order. I actually had, I needed to use it last week. One of my ex-students has a clinic out of town, and she very recently was diagnosed with, I think it was third stage cancer. So she had lymph vessels removed last week. Last week? No, last week. From under her right arm. And so she rang me and said, could I please go? And she was very swollen and in pain, and could I go and into the hospital and do a light massage on her? So, which I did, and she got good results. She slept well that night for the first time in quite a while, and so she came and saw me the next day, and I did another wee treatment. So you never know when you're going to need what you know. Because beauty therapy is not just beauty.
No, it definitely isn't. I remember having to learn every muscle in the body, including in the face. Oh my God, I had names coming out my ears. It's really interesting. I taught my grandson when he was younger to do basic massage on legs and feet and hands. So he knew a lot of the muscle structure when I was teaching him, and he was loving it, and he was very good. Very, very good. It was really funny. He said at one time, he would have been about 10 years old, Nana, can I massage your whole body? And I said, I don't think we'll go there right now, darling. But
I had some fun times with
innocence. It was so funny. But and of course we know the lymph doesn't have a heart to pump, and so it's movement that keeps everything going with the lymph system, isn't it, Lorraine?
Yeah. So it doesn't have that pump the way the circulatory system has.
No. So Lorraine, sorry?
Sure. Well, I was just going to say we had a lot of fun with the students at different times because we did a lot of fundraisers. We went along to different fundraising things and did the massages. We never charged. People would give us, we would raise money for whatever. So they would pay us or give us donations, whatever. Probably the biggest one that there was a couple of quite big ones. We did some telethons. We did 2-3 telethons. We did a 24-hour relay down at QE2. We did a telethon after the earthquakes, and we had a few that we went back. Usually with that we'd go backstage, and that was always a lot of fun. We had the last one was was that place out, the Aurora Centre was out there, and so we were backstage, and Rachel Hunter was one of the people who came along, one of these, and anyway, she walked through through the back past us. She didn't come for a massage, and one of the people who came with me was a young guy that I taught massage, and he's blind. And anyway, another girl who was there at the time, Lisa, her wee daughter was with us, Ariana, and Ariana just loved Rachel. And Rachel came past this time, and Lisa said, could we have a photo, please? And so Rachel came over and she put her arm around Lisa and her other arm around Morgan. But Morgan didn't know who was there. He didn't know who had her arm around him. Well, when he found out who it was, he was just blown away.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I remember going to the casino with you and a whole bunch of massage therapists, and we did head and back massage on someone dressed, obviously, when they were doing a poker tournament.
Oh gosh, yes, I remember that. All that money that was on the table. I thought, oh my God, oh, it was hot. Oh. But yeah, no, that was a bit of fun. That was a bit of fun. I remember at the end of one of the nights, they would pay us cash, and I can't remember what we were raising money for with that. We were raising money for something. But anyway, I had a coin in my pocket. So I'll put it in a machine. And I didn't know what to do. And I asked this young guy what to do. And I put the money in and I pulled the thing and it started to go up. And I thought, oh, shoot, this is good. This is good. And it went up to about $10 after. And I must have put a $2 or something like that in. And the next thing it started to come down, and I thought, oh. Anyway, I asked him how I stopped it. So he told me how to stop it, and I stopped it at $5 or something. I've never tried that again.
These things are fun to do. Lorraine is a wonderful tutor. She teaches with a passion, with her wisdom and understanding of the human body, anatomy, physiology, all with humour and imparting an upliftment of the soul, both in training and private sessions, where it's all about the client's well-being. Would you like to talk about your time as a director, tutor, and therapist?
Well, I think I probably have, Jude. I just love teaching. I love that people can learn things. And I think we need to keep learning. If we don't, we get old. And that's when you do get old, when you stop learning. And as I said before, knowledge isn't any use to you unless you give it away, unless you share it. So I see some of the girls that I've trained and I see what they've achieved. And that makes me feel real good. Yeah.
Would you like to talk about the types of therapies you offered? I know you had a gym there as well in your clinic, didn't you?
Well, it wasn't it was a can't think, what do you call it? I had these big machines that did the work for you. So it was good for people who could not do normal exercise. I did the feet for you and did them. I can't remember all the things it did. It was quite good. I used to hop on there when there was nobody about.
And you're often on the computer doing all sorts of training modules. Also, you were always so busy, which is brilliant. Yeah. Always on the go with something. Yeah. We know the best ingredients for our health are found in nature. Nature delivers what the body needs and works in harmony with our physiology. Some of these practices we are about to talk about are centuries old, where each generation built on the last, usually by the woman, for health and well-being of the family. So much understanding was for a while pushed aside by the synthetic pharmaceutical industrial complex. We're now relearning the tried and true practices of what nature provides for our health and well-being, using modern practices and understanding for safe delivery. You trained in reflexology, massage, lymphatic drainage and aromatherapy, making your own blends of oils, lotions, and potions. Can you tell us a little about these, please, before we get into in depth about the oils? So, oils, lotions, and potions.
Well, I think aromatherapy is a fairly new modality, but working with what nature provides has been what women have done for centuries, for millennium. And they've used herbs and been called witches and whatever. But they were just the wise women. They were the women who understood what the earth was giving. So many of the herbs represent what they'll work for. Like heartsease, the petals, the leaves are shaped like a heart. The walnut, which is very good for the brain. If you open a walnut, you'll see that it actually looks like a brain, a miniature brain. Everything's the same as a brain. There's so many. So looking at what nature has, probably I think early last century, a lady called Madame Murray, she was one of the earliest aromatherapists. And then Tissot, Robert Tissot, he came along not long after that. I have both of their books. I have an original one of Marguerite Murray's, but the original books, the earliest books, were really more. They really compared oils, the essential oils, to the herbs and the flowers, where in fact they don't work quite the same. So we have naturopathy and herb, what's the herbal one's called, and there's also homeopathy. They all and aromatherapy, they all work on nature, but they work in different ways. And so it is important to understand the way each one works. For me, aromatherapy was what got me. We used lavender and something else. I can't remember when I was doing my beauty therapy training. But the minute I smelt those and understood the power they had, that's what really got me, and that's been my passion. I don't think that a day goes past when I don't use aromatherapy. But aromatherapy, it is important to understand the oils and what they will and won't do, because unfortunately, and a lot of oils are diluted in usually in carrier oils, or else they're synthetic. Too many of them synthetic nowadays. But there is ways of understanding and being able to recognise a better quality of oil.
So if we can get into that in a wee minute, what sort of lotions and potions did you make?
Oh, just anything that people needed. I've got cards of recipes, and they're all on a lot of them in my computer. Of somebody will come to me and say, "Look, I need something for this," and if a lotion is the better one, that's what I would have made up. I would used different ingredients to create a cream or a spray or an oil blend. I've got an after waxing gel that I created because nobody else had created anything like it. So it cools the skin after waxing, and it also works after sunburn or being out in the sun. I had created a hand sanitizer way before the we had the COVID. So I made sure I made more of that at that time. Yeah, and made perfumes, taught people how to make perfumes. And I did teach lotions and potions, but I have since I don't do that because some of the ingredients that were recommended to create these are not really the best to make a good product. And I don't believe in putting anything on the skin that isn't good on the inside of the body. If you remember when I was teaching, when we did talked about essential oils in the beauty course, I would go along with a little bottle of lavender and put a drop. I would go along with the girls or usually girls in the class or young ladies, and put a drop on the top lip, going along, maybe 6 or 8 girls. By the time I would get to almost to the last one, what would happen?
You taste it on your tongue. Yeah.
You taste it in your mouth. That's how fast something like an essential oil goes through the skin, but
Yes.
also your cleaning products and other things, skincare products that have got bad ingredients in. When I did my training, cosmetic chemistry, one of the girls who had a very well-known range of products, one beauty therapist, she was told she shouldn't be using it because it had carcinogenic ingredients in it.
Wow.
And at that time, a lot of the sunscreens had carcinogenic ingredients in them. That was, that's totally. Why would you do that? You're trying to stop skin cancer. You're not trying to cause some other kind of cancer. So,
and the same also with some of our cleaning ingredients, Lorraine.
Oh,
Still
yes.
are not good, are they? Or deodorants
No.
are just not wonderful. Toothpastes are not wonderful. So it's really sussing out. It's being a secret squirrel, I guess, and just sussing out what the best products are that we're ingesting or putting on our skin.
Yeah.
Because everything on the skin will be absorbed in.
Will be absorbed in straight away.
Yeah.
And into the bloodstream. And I believe a lot of cancers and things could have been caused by things that not just smoking. Smoking's going to cause lines on the face. So I'm always glad that I never got into that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could you please speak about the dangers of using oils inappropriately and the way to test if they have had carrier oils added?
Okay. Now we're talking about essential oils. Carrier oils are oily, like you would use cooking oil, but any of those, they're oily and you can feel it. Whereas most essential oils, I will this is a bottle of lavender. I'm going to put it on my arm, and I don't know if you can, I don't want to put it on my computer. Can you see it goes like water?
Yes.
Okay. The majority of essential oils are like water. Their texture is like water. I'm going to rub that along my arm. It's not going to hurt me. It is going to go into my skin. I will probably be tasting it later. But it's one of the few essential oils that I would put on my skin neat like that. The other would possibly be tea tree. I would put that on a somebody's toe infection or a cut. I would put that on if somebody had a scratch. I've put it onto. I had an injury the other week on my leg, my skin on my legs, on my shins. It's not as thick as it used to be. So first thing I did was put some lavender on it. And
lavender's the miracle oil, really, isn't it, Lorraine?
It's the miracle oil.
So much.
It is. It will do. It's chemistry. It's one of it is the be all end all, and it's produced all over New Zealand. I've probably got more than 20 different lavenders. So one size doesn't fit all. They have different properties, and it depends on when they were planted, where they were planted, when they were harvested, how long was the process, all those things. But on the whole, lavender, a good lavender, doesn't have to be expensive. This is a 10 ml bottle. It's less than $20. You use one drop at a time. But lavender's chemistry is it will calm a person down, but it will also elevate them, help their mood. So it will do opposites. It will help you go to sleep, but it will also help to revise you or revitalize you. So it does so many things. You can put it on an acne skin, you can put it on a dry skin, not direct in a product. You can stop bleeding. So it's a styptic. So if you cut yourself, have a paper cut, chopping an onion. I'm a bugger for hot cup of tea, and I had poured my tea into my mug. Somehow I had spilt it. I tipped it. Hadn't even put the milk in. It went all over my hand like that. And so straight under the cold tap, held it under there for a while, and then covered it in lavender. And I put another gel over later on, but the next day you wouldn't know I'd been burnt. So I worked, the last clinic I had, I was behind the souvlaki shop, and he had that on hand because he was always burning his fingers or burning something. I don't know what else, but anyway. Plus it smells nice, but a few people don't like it. Some people say, oh no, I don't like lavender because fragrances emit make you think of a memory, and they're also the fragrance is also a fragrance is the easiest thing to remember. I always used to say, if I was to say to you, look, I've got this pretty fabric. Could you just go down to the corner and get me buttons to match, please, or cotton to match? And it would just be a short trip. But I've got this oil, and I don't know what it is. It's a lovely oil, and I've lost the label's gone, and could you go out to Rangiora and get me what I bought from the certain shop in Rangiora? Most people could go out to Rangiora and get the same. If after smelling it, they could probably that, but they couldn't. The sense of sight isn't the same. So our sense of smell is our most important one. We actually choose our partner in life by the way they smell. If a man, I'm talking to mainly ladies here, not all, I think. But if the person we're attracted to, if they don't smell right, we're not going to be attracted to them in the right way. Primitive people chose their partners on the way they smell. But I remember a training we had up in Auckland, and it was an ear, nose and throat specialist, and he'd written a book on the sense of smell, because the sense of smell has more receptors than any other of our senses. And he said that when a woman goes on the pill, the way she smells to others changes and is perceived by others differently. When she goes off the pill, she smells differently. And while she's on the pill, she has different perception of other people. So if somebody was what struck me is that if a woman was on the pill and got married, went off the pill because of whatever, they had a child, or they are going to smell different. They're going to smell different to their partner. And I think that could be an issue causing marriage breakups, because
that's
people don't smell
fascinating.
right.
I do know smell's important, but I didn't know it was different if you were on or off the pill. That's so interesting.
You've
And
got
it makes me think too about wearing sunglasses actually stops the light coming into the pineal gland, which is interesting. That's something I've just come to realize, that the more we cover our eyes up from the sun, the less information stream we're getting from the sun, and it doesn't allow the pineal gland to activate the same through the optic nerve. Fascinating, isn't it?
Our eyes need the sun. They need some sun.
Yes.
So we have to get our glasses off.
Should we take our glasses off?
Yeah. Then you can't see. I can see everything, but I can't read.
Can you please speak to us about the uses of oils, the benefit to our health, your favourite oils, and the conditions you use them for? Well, that's
how long are we
them.
going to be here? Oh,
just your ones that pop out.
Yeah. You can have a few oils and do most things. You can have I just not long before the earthquakes, I set up some kits so that you had a kit that would give you one of most things that you needed. Lavender has got to be one of those things in the kit. Peppermint, possibly, because that's really good for nausea and you go car sickness, things like that. Tea tree, because it's very antiseptic. It isn't the most antiseptic, antiviral oil that there is, but it is one of the most, and it is the least expensive of those different ones. Eucalyptus, because eucalyptus is great for the chest, and you can put it in a bit of cream or Vaseline or something like that, put it on a child's or anybody's chest or bottoms of their feet, and very good to, I always have a bottle when I fly, because I sometimes get a sore ear coming down, not always, but put on a tissue down my bra. Those would probably be my rosemary, very good for your mind, wake your mind up. What else have I put some oils out here. What's that one that I put? Oh, Lang Lang. Oh, that's in a different bottle. It's one of my neighbours, but very good for. That's Lang Lang is an aphrodisiac. But then there is another oil which is an anaphrodisiac, which is marjoram. Marjoram.
Oh.
Yes, so you can, and I do I have in the past made up blends. One of the first one I blended together it has marjoram and jasmine in it, and lots of lavender. Anytime I do a blend, I have to have lavender, because lavender's so magic. You can have a good quantity of it in a blend without it affecting the blend. It makes the blend, holds it together, and keeps the cost down, because sometimes I've got a little container here. Some oils are very expensive, and this is here. This is what's called an absolute. It's not got much left in it. This cost over $100.
Wow, what is that, Lorraine?
This is the which one did I pick up? Did I pick up? I can't see. Rose. It's rose.
Oh, right.
Yeah, rose absolute.
Rose absolute.
I've got a rose and I've got a jasmine. That I it's in a thing there with lots of tissue paper and a tiny little dropper to use. So, but lavender's
yes, and it's interesting how you blend oils together. It's the synergy between them that makes it more in a way, depending what you're using it for, and also gives it a different smell, a different fragrance.
Oh, definitely. There's two oils. One is lavender and the other one is frankincense, which I've put down here somewhere. Not that you're going to smell it, but frankincense you can take a 10 ml bottle, that big, and put 1 drop of frankincense in the blend, and it will take something that isn't quite right to perfect.
Wow.
Put 2 drops of it in, and it will be not good. So blending depends on what you know will work. Patchouli is another one that will do sometimes, but frankincense is one of the better ones. If you're looking, you asked me before about how can you tell it's a good oil. Okay, usually they're watery. They're not quite watery, but the only ones that don't work like that, myrrh will go quite. My bottle of myrrh that I have somewhere is so thick you can't get it out. It just it's all the water or all the everything's evaporated off. Some jasmine will do the same, and rose, this one I showed you is an absolute, but most rose have been diluted, but I have got another little bottle with a very good rose in it, and it's just divine, and it solidifies when it's cold, and that's how you know that that's a good rose. It's like you've got to hold the bottle long enough to warm it up to be able to take a drop out, because it will solidify. It's beautiful. What's the other one that gets quite heavy? Myrrh, jasmine. Yeah, they're the only. Oh no, there's probably benzoin. Benzoin is very thick. That's wonderful for sleep. Yeah, so each you can substitute oils for. You have to understand how to substitute, but and they're not the same as what would happen if you had the same herb. Getting using thyme, a thyme oil will do something different to what actual thyme the herb will do, etc. And same with rosemary.
Right. Now, how can you tell if a carrier oil has been added?
Because it'll be oily.
It'll be oily.
And it won't have a true smell. Yeah.
That's good to know. Now, one of the oils which is so valuable, in my opinion, is Four Thieves oil, which is a blend.
Yes.
Can you tell us the story behind the name, which I love, and what this oil is used for, please? And I used it heaps when we had stuff happen 4 years ago when the world went crazy. So can you tell us about Four Thieves oil?
Yeah. Well, Four Thieves oil, or Four Thieves, was originally because in the plague, early last century, just around the end of the First World War, and my father almost died from it, but fortunately didn't. But there was, and I think in times before that, there were thieves who were robbing the dead, because people were dropping like flies, and they were robbing the dead, and so they understood what herbs would do. So they mixed different herbs together, and they created an antiviral blend. I don't know how they did it. I'm pretty sure that they would have had dried the herbs and used them in that way, like pomanders and the herbs were used in that way many years ago, but they didn't die. And when they were finally caught, they said that that's what they had used. They had put the different oils together. So my blend is a blend of oils, some of the most antiviral oils that we've got, and I can't tell you what's in it because I'd have to tell you. I fell in, yeah, anyway.
You said
But
that to me years ago.
probably, yeah. I mean, I actually, I had somebody wanted to buy some of my oils, and they were taking them overseas, and they said, "Oh no, we need to want to sell them, and we need to know what's in them." Well, they never bought me off me, so that was the last time I ever told anybody what I had in my oils. And I always made up my blends. I would also always put in something unusual, so it wasn't able to be replicated. But this one has got. Uh, because most people think of tea tree as the most antiviral, but it isn't, and it doesn't smell that great. It's not one of my favorite oils. I use it, but I don't like it. And but I discovered a really lovely Australian oil, lemon myrtle, and that is highly antiviral, as is Ravensara, which is another unusual oil, hard to get. And of course, yeah, the lemon myrtle's not easy to get. I have still got some, but don't run out. But I've got a couple of contacts in Australia, and hopefully I can get some more. And Ravensara, yeah, there's a story with that one too. But yeah, so yes, so I put that together. The first blend I ever made was an uplifting blend, because one of my students, and that was when I was teaching from my room across the road. She could have even been in your class. It was a girl who can't remember short name. She lived down in Ashburton, and her partner was very stressed, very depressed and stressed. And she said, "Could I mix something up for him?" So I mixed some oils up, including jasmine and lang lang and lavender and whatever else, lime, because it's very uplifting. And I made a blend for her, and I made one for myself at the same time because I liked it. So she came back the following week because she was in a weekly class, and so she bought that, and she said, I can't remember if it was her or what somebody else in the class wanted. Could they have one?" So that was my one went. So I made another one for myself, and that went the next week. So it's the one I've had used the most. I've had the longest.
Oh,
So
that's fabulous.
hmm.
That's wonderful. Could you speak about the benefits of aromatherapy massage and reflexology pertaining to both the physical body and the soul?
Hmm. As I mentioned before, the essential oils can affect your mood. There are certain ones which will uplift you, and some which will, some, some actually can get rid of negative energies. So, depending upon what the person needs, you would blend up the carrier oils and then add the essential oils, depending upon why they've come to you. If they're maybe it's a somebody who's an athlete of some sort, so you wouldn't use the same oils on that person. You'd use something to invigorate, to help the muscles, to to help them recover or have more energy, whatever. And then you've got somebody who's feeling very down for whatever reason. Somebody might have lost somebody, or somebody might just be overworked for whatever. You have to. So aromatherapy is a therapy. It's in its own right, and the Aromatherapy Association of New Zealand actually having a convention, which I'm and whether I'm going to get up to in April. They monitor the use of oils and give guidelines, etc. I was until the earthquake, I was in the association. I was the chair for 4 years because nobody else would take it over, and I I didn't hide well enough when they were trying to choose. But yeah, so what were you asking?
The benefits of aromatherapy, massage, and reflexology pertaining to both the physical body and the soul. Because we know that these therapies are also, as well as uplifting, very relaxing, which means the body, mind, spirit relaxes in that time and afterwards, all going well.
Yes. Reflexology is a whole different thing. It works on the pressure points, mainly on the feet, because the feet are the easiest place to find the points. There are points on the hands, there are points on the ears, and there are points throughout the body. So if somebody, for example, had injured their foot, so I couldn't work on the feet, I would work on the other foot for the same area, but I would also work on the hand on that side of the body. There are points all through there are points in the tips of the fingers, tips of the toes, which are good for headaches, migraines, things like that. If somebody has you think somebody's having a stroke, you massage the tip of the little fingers. That person's
that's valuable. That's valuable.
Yeah. It's just a little bit of a first aid. And I recently was asked, another friend had severe headaches. She's just developed polymyalgia rheumatica. And so I did a little video for her. That point there, when you bring your thumb back, there's a dent. If you get a headache or you think you're getting a headache, you work in there. But if it's a migraine...
I used to call it the apothecary's cup, that point, that dimple. Because the apothecaries used to put tiny little pieces of their herbs in that spot. So that's the spot.
That would go to the brain.
Interesting.
So, yeah, you can. If I was teaching a class, or if I was doing a talk to a group, I would say to the group, okay, is there anybody in the group who's got a headache or anything wrong with their back? Don't tell me which, but let me have one of your feet or hand. But feet are a lot better. And you can always tell. You can find where the injury is and help.
Brilliant.
It's a reflexology. For some people, they don't want to have a massage because they feel that it's personal. They might. I remember the first time I ever had a massage, I was terrified. I didn't know. It was a lady doing it. No, I thought, I hope she's not. I hope she's not going to touch me inappropriately or anything. Which of course she didn't and wouldn't have. But reflexology, because it's the feet, it's away from the center of the body, and but then there's people who are too ticklish. You can't touch their feet.
No.
But even some of those people, you can, by doing it gradually, you can actually allow you to work, because it's not about tickling, and it's not about hurting. It's not about pressing too hard. I remember doing a course with a guy it was a weekend course on advanced reflexology. And he spent most of the weekend talking about his beautiful crystals and showed us all his crystals that we could buy. Finally got onto some reflexology on the Sunday, I think. And he got a hold of my foot, and he had nails. He had fingernails that were thick and hard, and he was pressing into my foot. I said, if you don't let go of my foot, I will kick you. And he said, oh, no, you've got to go deep. I said, no, you don't. Because if you are causing the person pain, they're not going to get a result. They're not going to let you do another treatment. So you've got to go gently enough to get a result, or firmly enough to get a result, but not injure them and not
True.
use your nails. You don't use your nails.
Yeah. I found when I was being taught therapeutic massage, we'd start at the ankles, work on the calf muscles and the legs, then come down to the feet gently. So the client was probably oblivious to any ticklish stuff going on. And I never once had a person complain. Although previously to the massage, they might say, you can't touch my feet because they're ticklish. But I think once the client's relaxed and you don't start at the feet, you can move down there. And for me, that seemed to work the best. Yeah.
I remember a young guy coming in, and his girlfriend partner, because she was carrying a baby, came in and she'd bought him a gift voucher, and she dragged him into my clinic, literally just about. And he said, no, you have it. I'll look after the baby. You have it. And she said, no, you've got to have it. And he didn't want to. Anyway, by the time I had finished with him, he walked out to her and he tripped over his feet because he was so relaxed. He said, I thought it was one of those massages that you just do for football players. And he just didn't realise the benefits.
Wow.
But
beautiful.
He literally tripped over his feet. He was so relaxed.
Wow. I had the pleasure of working from rooms at Lorraine's clinic for a while as a holistic health practitioner, where we chatted over many topics of interest. I've always said Lorraine should write a book on aromatherapy, particularly, as her knowledge is outstanding. And I still stand by that, Lorraine. I think you would make an incredible author for a book. It would be an amazing... but it wouldn't be your book, darling.
Okay.
It would be an amazing tome of information. Would you like to talk about your adventure over the years with Nu Skin, the benefits of their beauty and body products, and their Pharmanex range, which talks about health products, and what you've found most impressed you with this company?
Okay, I came across Nu Skin through a guy I'd worked with before, who had been sent a video before it came to New Zealand, and he said, oh, you might be interested in this. I'm not that interested. And he passed me this video, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So we had to get some products over from America, and the Sam Michelle was just going out of business at that time. I was looking for something, but I had to be able to use it myself, because I have got such a sensitive skin. So it worked for me, and I carried on using it, and used it in class with my students. So a lot of my students still use it, and after all those years. It's been in New Zealand about 31 years, and having their 40th anniversary this year. But they continue to only bring out good products. They don't have any harmful ingredients in them, and they work the way they are supposed to. They're not expensive. They're more expensive than something you can get maybe at the supermarket or something, but then they do more. And you often find with one of the cheaper products, you need a teaspoonful or a tablespoonful to do your face, whereas the tip of your finger generally is enough for most of the Nu Skin products. I wasn't thinking I would be talking about that, but I am passionate about it because it has helped so many people, and they have so many good products. The gel I talked about when I scalded my hand is almost entirely aloe vera, and I just swear by it. My kids used it for their acne when it first came out. It's one of the earliest products, still available. They have skin devices. I don't believe in artificial anything. I don't believe in having Botox or having a facelift. A facelift, when you understand the skin, would stretch the skin, but then after about 5 years, we go back again. And eventually it's like if you've had a pair of lovely knickers and you put them on and they fit you nicely, and you wash them in the hot water occasionally and put them on the line in the sun, and one day you put them on, those beautiful knickers that you really liked, and then they're going to fall down around your ankles. Your skin's like that. There is you've got two proteins in your skin. You've got your elastin, which goes across, and vertically you've got your collagen, and you've got other things there too, but they are the network of your skin. And if you like the knickers, if you mistreat your skin, if you stretch it, if you use other products on it that are not good, you can end up with saggy skin. Where was I going with that? Sorry. So Nu Skin have brought out what they call the world's smallest wrinkle iron, or some people do, and I find that has helped my skin. I'm blessed with I think good genes, but I've since I came across skincare that I could use with the San Michel, which was okay, and it didn't upset my skin, but it really wasn't all that good when I look back on it. My skin has continued to improve, and I wouldn't have fillers or any of those things because I don't believe they're a good thing. And there's this needling thing, and that makes my skin crawl, because I think, well, why would you do that? Because that's counterintuitive. And also some of the severe not scrubs, peels. Some of those, I actually, when I did my cosmetic chemistry course, I did it with a lady who, at a not long late after that, had put on. This lady came over from overseas and was introducing us to this wonderful peel. Well, this lady said that she would be a model for it or whatever. She was a nurse as well as the beauty therapist. She had a heart attack from it.
Wow.
She died. And
Oh
she
my
was
gosh.
Yeah, I knew her, knew her daughter. So
Goodness.
you do have to be careful.
Yes, of
Especially those
course.
things. But
Yes.
so yeah, and so on the other side with Nu Skin, they have the Pharmanex. It was called IDN, but they took over another company that had these amazing products. I take my supplements most days. Some days I forget. But just after the earthquakes, and Jude mentioned, I didn't realise she was actually going to mention about my issues with the landlord that I had. The earthquakes didn't bother me that much, but I couldn't believe that somebody could be so evil to treat me the way he did. And I ended up with polymyalgia rheumatica, which affects your whole body, and you've got pain and stiffness in your joints and everything. Everything was, I thought I had a bad flu first of all, but it wasn't. Doctor put me on prednisone for quite a few months, which didn't reduce. It stopped a bit of the pain, but it didn't take it all. Then Nu Skin brought out a superfood supplement called Y-Span or Youth Span over in the States, and I took all the paperwork to my doctor, including the doctor's desk reference information that is in the doctor's desk reference, whatever that is. And he looked at it and he said, "Oh, well, there's nothing harmful in there. I'll monitor you." So within about 3 days, I started to notice a difference. It took me quite a lot longer than that to be fully functional. I take that supplement still, but I don't take it as religiously as I had to at the time back then. And for quite a while, my this arm wouldn't go up. but I've been doing Pilates for the last 3 years, and that's helped. So now I can do that.
That's wonderful, Lorraine. And isn't it wonderful when you've got a product that you know works? Proof's in the pudding always.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you see the difference and you see how you feel differently, you see how your body works differently. So I thought I would ask you about that company, just so people have an idea that there are amazing products out there, not only in beauty but in health as well,
Yeah.
as a company that has a heart and has integrity.
Yeah, they're very ethical. They have two parts to the company that we work with. One is called Nourish the Children. So there is a pack of nourishing. It's full of vitamins, minerals, and whatever grain, or like it could be rice or it could be wheat or barley, depending on where in the world they send it. We pay $33, I think it is still. Just put it on our automatic order and we don't even look at it. And that goes to feed a child for a month, and it usually goes to the school, and they have to be at school in order to have that meal. They have been doing, I think it's about 800 million that they have provided in the last so many years, 15, 20 years. They didn't start off with that. The other one is A Force for Good. And that one, we have a range of products called Epic or Epoch, depending on what school you went to. That's got some fantastic products. I mean, I can't do without some of those. The foot cream I use on my hands, and the Baobab body butter, which stops the bugs from biting me, or if I get bitten, it takes the sting away. But 25 cents from every container of anything from that range in over 50 countries around the world. And I think there's 15, 20, there must be about 15 or so products. It goes to the Force for Good. So it can go to pay for heart operations in places like China and Thailand. I can't remember all the places that they pay for them. It funds research into the butterfly children. The skin is so fragile that they can't go. Like if they went down a slide, it would be like going down a grater. The skin, most of them die quite young. So the lady who started the association to help with that had lost 2 children, and she talked at I think it was the 25th anniversary, and I saw the video of it. And they haven't found there isn't a cure for it, but they did find something that would help. The other guy, the other one that I really felt for was the guy who has formulated most of the Epic products. He is he deals in botanicals. I can't think of the name of what he does, and I can't think of his name now. But he was doing research in Samoa, and he saw that he goes to the rainforests and things like that as well. He's done a lot through researching for different substances to help health and well-being. And he noticed that the women used red hibiscus leaves when they were washing the children's hair, and found out about it. And he found that it actually was I don't know. I can't remember it all. It's getting all a bit much now. But anyway, he did research into it and started to use it to create some products around it. And he spoke on this 25th anniversary, and he was almost in tears when he was talking. And he said, I offered to a couple of companies, they could take these products, they could have this information, if they would give me a small percentage of the profit towards my charities. And he was told, no, our lawyers wouldn't like that. But then I think New Skin approached him with not the other way around. And they said, yes, we'd love to help. We'd love to help. And he said, if you think I'm emotional now talking to you, you should have seen me when I got my first check. It was many, many times more than what I'd asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually works with New Skin now to produce some of these epic products.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. And to think that a company can give back. You know, it's giving something more than what it's doing within the company for people, but it's also giving back. It's so important. I know you're working as a therapist still with clients. What are you mainly focusing on at this time? And what is your passion in life now?
Well, as I said, I don't have very many clients. I love to see them. What I'm usually doing is eyebrows, and I have one lady who comes for 2.5 hours once a month, and it's a pedicure and eyebrow tint, and that half-hour back massage, and a half-hour with the galvanic facial. But others come to get their chins tidied or that kind of thing. As I say, I've got Philippa on Friday for a back massage. Yeah, so that's mostly what I do there. But I guess my passion, I want to carry on with. I can put what I've learned into a format that can actually be taught online. Some things can't. You can't really teach reflexology online. You can teach most aromatherapy, and I've been helping to teach a young lass in Blenheim. She, one of my girls has a clinic there, and so she's been teaching her the practical, though I went up and put the girl through her exam a few months back. But I've been taking her through the theory side of things. So I've got to take her through another exam shortly. So she's going to come down here to Christchurch. So I'm still got my finger in it a little bit. I'm also learning a bit more about social media and how I can grow my New Skin business, because that can help a lot more people. Even if somebody wants another $50 a month to supplement their groceries, they can do that by selling toothpastes or something like that. Yeah. So and it's fun to learn.
Absolutely. It's always having that curiosity to learn, isn't it, Lorraine? I just love it.
Yeah.
To have the curiosity of a child, to never give that up. It's a beautiful thing, because it keeps you alive. It keeps you wanting to learn more, and to bring out the fun with that. And at the same time, we're learning so much more, which is exciting. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we open up to questions?
Oh, crikey. I've I don't know what anyone wants to know. I think I've sort of gone through most things. Yeah.
Do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to impart to us from your life experience?
Just keep learning. Keep learning. And your mind is capable of learning, of creating new dendrites, and they're the little things at the ends that actually gather more information. And I must say, as you get a little older, sometimes you can't bring some things back. I can tell you, I can describe exactly how the body, the circulatory system and the lymphatic system works. But sometimes they ask me what I had for breakfast, and I've got to think about it.
Fair enough.
But I said before, I've got good genes. My dad was 103 when he died, so I've got his funny skin. Hopefully I've got his genes, and So I don't know if I know you know how old I am. I don't know if your other ladies know how old I might be.
I do, my love, and it's all brilliant. Before we open to questions, what can you offer people, knowing that a lot of our beautiful community is out of Christchurch as well? And where can people find you if they want to know more?
I'm sure they could find me through you, but I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Yeah, got my picture up there somewhere. I don't have a website anymore, but
Okay.
but I do have an email, and yeah, you can let people know if they want to contact me. I talked about the the oils. I grabbed some. I made up some kits um, before the earthquakes, and I created booklets to go with the kits. And on this page, I don't know if you can see, but it tells you all the things that you can do with about 6 or 8 different oils. There's so many things you can help. So I have got some sheets that tell you how to make the most of your oils. So I can send those out if anybody wants to, if you wants to come through you to get my email or anything.
This will also be going out on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
where people won't get hold of me personally.
Oh, okay.
Able to give out your email address out to people?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, do you want me to give it to you now?
Yes, please.
On this? Yes, okay. You have to spell it because some people get the F's and the S's round the wrong way. It's Funkey, FUNKEY .KEY 2011 at gmail.com.
Perfect,
So
Lorraine.
one of my clinics was called the Funky, but it's funky with an E. And the other was the Key to Natural Health and Beauty.
Brilliant. So we'll open up to questions now. So does anyone have a question for Lorraine? If you do, please raise the yellow hand, and you can ask her a question if you'd like to. Hello, Ray. Would you like to ask your question, and how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. And it was so beautiful learning so many new things. Amazing. Thank you so much, Lorraine. Just a very simple question. I don't know if I missed that point anywhere in between. How to recognize the essential oil that, yes, this is authentic, this is real, original?
Okay. Sometimes it's not easy, but usually they won't be waterish. They will be more oily. And if you look at, and for me, it's the smell. I have to walk past some of those shops that sell artificial ones, and if I don't go fast enough, I end up with a migraine. Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of shops that I have to run past, literally. So usually, yeah, look for a good source. I have quite a good range. Over the years, I've had quite a lot of different oils. I am able to get a few unusual oils, but if you're unsure, happy for you to contact me about it.
Thank you so much.
Nice
Thank
to
you,
meet you, Ray.
Well, Lorraine, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Finding out more about you than I did before is fantastic. I want to thank you for your time, your expertise, your beautiful friendship. And to all our lovely family, I'd like to say thank you for joining us this evening. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, peace on earth. It starts with you. It starts with me. So on that note, we'll say good night and sleep well.